Hey, what's up, gardening friends? How's everybody? Ew, stop drooling, Toby. It's a very unseasonable type of day here in November in St. Louis, and I thought, you know what? Let's do a garden tour. Doesn't actually make any sense because, well, it's snowing. I actually thought that would be a good reason to go ahead and do one. Just to do a compare and contrast. Look at how things are. I didn't do it in October because I was really busy getting things ready to move the plants in, but I would imagine this will be kind of brief because most of the plants are inside. But hey, I've never done a garden tour in the snow before, so I figured, what the heck? Let's go ahead. Let's do it. Let's have a look at things, and then when you go back, you can see the other tours and what things look like throughout the year and how they change and all that gets done and whatnot. Oh, this is going to be a long tour if I don't learn how to talk. And I'm actually also in the process of bringing in some plants. I don't normally have to do this time of year. Usually I still have several weeks. You know, is what it is. This right here, these are the hardy cactus. They're staying out. They'll be fine. I'm going to cover them to keep them dry. I mean, obviously, I haven't done that yet. But in here, I don't know if you remember when I planted this up. This has the Euphorbia Ascot Rainbow back here in the back. A nice cholla over there that's actually put on a decent amount of growth. And then this prickly pear, Napuntia. I don't remember the name, the variety, because the handwriting was really weird. I think it was Engelmanni, but I'm not positive. It was hard to tell what was written on the tag. And then there's this guy down in here too that I actually don't want to fidget with too much. That cactus is more why I need to keep this dry. It's going to be the most sensitive. Everything else in here is going to be fine. And then up here was the one with the more tropical, you could say, types of cactus and echeverias and whatnot. This is what I'm going to be moving in basically right now as soon as I'm done here, because it's not that this will kill it. So that's how that looks when it's covered with snow. You can see the Othana, not very thrilled, maybe dead. Probably dead, but there's nothing I could do. I had to prioritize a lot when it comes to moving in the plants. The bigger, most expensive, irreplaceable things, obviously, those get priority. It was a little bit frustrating, actually, because I was ahead of the game this year. I was like, hey, I'm not going to have to struggle and rush to get things moved in because I'm ahead of the game. And then we've had, like, the worst winter weather that St. Louis has had since, I think they said 1973. Got down to 16 degrees the other day. But, you know, I mean, and things like that, those were things where I was like, you know, they're going to have to suck it up and tough it out. And they did. They'll be okay. Right here, these don't need to come in yet. They can take some cold. This is the Yucca recurvifolia. There's another one over there. They are going to spend their first winters in the garage, in the grow room, just because they're not actually acclimated to cold weather yet. So they haven't really seen winter yet. So, but next year I'll be putting them in the ground and doing something pretty cool with them. But for this year, nah, they're in pots. I didn't buy them until late in the year, and it's because of that, because I didn't buy them until late in the year, that I didn't want to stick them in the ground. I want to plop these in the ground in the springtime when they have more time to put their roots down. This is an Agave Pari. I don't remember the variety, but hopefully it's one of the ones that's pretty cold tolerant, because, I mean, look at it. It'll be inside in just a few minutes, though, right, Toby? Yeah, he's not. I don't know why I always, like, cut to my dogs when I don't know what to say. That's probably annoying. I'm sorry. Look at that windmill palm, though. This is my best windmill palm, I have to say. It always does really, really well in the winter time. I do move them in the winter. They're potted. I fell over and I just left it because it's going to be easier on the crown with the snow and stuff on it. But they can take cold. They've experienced some very, very cold weather before, so I'm not worried about them. Hi, would you, excuse me, Toby. Like how I have tropical plants just getting snowed all over, yet my magnolia is under an umbrella. Go figure. That's just coincidence. That's not intentional. And actually, pretty much all the tropicals are moved in. It's just the cactus. That's all that's left. Here's that Alberta spruce I'm going to be cutting out next year because, well, it looks like garbage. The top of it has browned out, which means it's done. There's no more vertical growth that's going to happen there, so it's time to get rid of that, which means next year, re-landscaping this entire area, which I'm really excited about. I have all winter to plan it out. I want to do something really cool with it. I'm really torn between doing something that's a little bit more traditional, just like shrubby and easy and low maintenance, or going way over the top and filling the whole thing with like heat cables and putting plants in there that have no business growing where I live. I think that might be kind of cool too. Got a needle palm under the snow there. Snow provides some insulation, so I'm not really worried about that as long as the crown's not bending. Yeah, as long as the crown isn't bending, I don't worry about them too much. The snow actually helps insulate them somewhat. Oh, look at those beautiful banana trees. Yep, I'd say it's time to go ahead and get the machete and cut those down and put some mulch around them. It's actually definitely overtime to do that. Okay, hold on 1 second. My fingers are starting to burn. I need to take a break and warm up real quick. Skyrocket Junipers are looking good. They are so pretty when they have snow on them, aren't they? Very wintry, very pretty. And then nope, not acknowledging that. It makes me sad. Chinese fan palms. Well, these actually will come back year to year out here as long as you put a ton of mulch on top of them, but they defoliate completely. But they generally will regrow, so I'm going to go ahead and let the foliage die back on these, and then I'll be dumping a lot, and I mean a lot of mulch on top of them. Oh, there's another castor bean looking beautiful. Isn't it pretty? I mean, come on now. Tell me it's not one of the most beautiful castor beans you've ever seen. It's just gorgeous. It's very fitting with the bananas. They go together really, really well. Okay, so these Windmill Palms, these are an example of crown bending. So with these, I'm going to do something with them because that's not really great for them. This is why in the wintertime, it's a good idea to go ahead and pull the foliage up and tie it together. It helps protect them and helps keep this from happening, helps protect the inner crown too. And all I'm going to do is I'm actually just going to lay them on their side. Nothing complicated. See? Just like that. And the ground's a little bit warmer, so that protects them somewhat. Ideally, if you're really worried about the cold, it's actually not supposed to get much colder than this. It's supposed to warm up here pretty soon. I think it's supposed to be in the 50s and 60s actually in a couple of days, but put a cloth or something over there, a frost cloth or a blanket, maybe even Christmas lights if you're really worried about them. But like I said, these have been through much colder, much more adverse conditions than this before. Hey, more of those lovely Baju bananas looking good. Aren't they beautiful? This mimosa. See, this is the thing that is so weird about this is there's still leaves on the trees, but there's so much snow on them. It's very bizarre. Never seen, this didn't even get to do its fall thing. Look, they're still green. The mimosas aren't really that colorful in wintertime anyways, but like they didn't really even start to dry. They're just, the oak is still green, which is, I mean, that's what oaks do. These guys hold on to their leaves all winter and kind of drop them in late winter, early spring, which is super annoying. When you think, oh, I have all my leaves cleaned up, and then a whole tree just dumps them all over the place. Look at how pretty this is. These are those strawberry vanilla hydrangea trees. This is something I love about those hydrangea trees. Even when they don't have flowers on them, their branches are so intricate. They're still really pretty, as long as there's snow on them at least. Which typically we don't get very much snow, so that doesn't happen often. But look at, oh, they're just so lovely. Reminds me, I don't know why, because it really shouldn't, but there are certain types of the red twig wood, the dogwoods, had the bright red wood on them, the bright red bark. Those get really pretty during wintertime, and this is nothing like that, but that's just for some reason where my head's going. I don't know why. Got that nice azalea bonsai down there. I actually normally do bring this in, even though it's hardy zone 6B and up. I'm in 6A, 6B, right kind of on the border. Typically, we have more of a 7 type winter, but obviously that may not be the case this year. Since it's potted, that's the reason. Anything in a pot, you generally want to be about 2 zones lower than you, so I'd want this to be a zone 4 perennial to keep it out all year in a pot. What's done is done, right? I don't know. I'm still going to take care of it. I'll maybe move that in just to be safe, but typically I only move it in when temperatures are below 20 for an extended period of time, and we're not there. We did get there, but it was brief, and that's why I'm saying like what's done is done, but I think it's okay. It should be fine. So beautiful. I hope we get some snow this winter. It's not winter, it's fall. And we never get snow in fall ever, but this just makes me hope. I'm very hopeful that we get some snow this winter, because otherwise everything's just dead and gross looking and it's kind of depressing. This is at least nice to look at. And here's the summer snow gardenia. Actually looking pretty darn good considering, and those are hardy through zone 6, but it's more like an Akuba. I probably shouldn't spend too much time on this one because you can't really see it. Also, is that kind of freaking anybody out? The bird's lost its air and it just kind of looks a little bit like a giant dead swan in the yard. Okay, let's go check out the front. That's not gonna be very eventful. You can come. You're a good boy. Come on. Okay, and then here is the Cactus Garden. Not really much of a garden, but I have the Opuntias in there. There's typically also some various sedums, and then I have a old yucca recurvifolia here that grew a lot this year. When I put it on a dripper, did a lot of growing. It's looking pretty good. Actually, like the most growth it's ever put on ever, when I made sure to actually be positive it's getting watered, because there's no irrigation that hits here. None of my hoses are long enough to hit this area, so that made a huge difference. So that's kind of like a no or I should say a duh sort of thing, because like obviously plants need water. I have watered it in the past, just it hasn't been a very good routine of watering. Like I make sure like once a week to make sure it gets some water, but with it being on a dripper this year, it was consistent, and I think it actually made a huge difference. What you doing, Toby? Toby, what you doing? I see you. What you doing, bud? Oh, I'm getting very cold. There's the berm with the hydrangea trees. Not really much to talk about there, other than, look, they didn't even defoliate before the snow. Yeah, see? They didn't get fall. They still have their leaves on them, and that's actually not a great thing. You want your plants to hit their dormancy before things like this happen. Kind of like this Bradford pear that barely even started to change colors. Oh, that looks pretty on the Japanese maple, though. Okay, and here's that planter did with the daisies. That looks great, doesn't it? The daisies and the verbena, so pretty. And all of the cabbage and kale. Well, how am I even going to show you this? I figured they'd be more visible. I don't know why that's what I thought. I just, for some reason, was like, oh, the snow will be around them, but you'll be able to see them. That's not how this works. Well, you just have to believe me. There's a whole bunch of kale under there. Not cabbage and kale. I'm pretty sure these are all kale. What you doing, Toby? Toby, you sniffing out squirrels? Oh, kitty. Toby, no kitty. No kitty. That's what we say to no animal. Like, that's just kind of their understanding. Don't chase the animals. We say no kitty because they used to chase the cats. All right, whoa. I heard that, Toby. Toby, come on, be a good boy. There you go. Good boy. Good boy. Oh, boy, Toby. Oh, boy. Go on, get back. Get back. Dude, why are you always standing in front of me? I gotta move. Still have some bamboo back here that's looking kind of pretty. This is actually the Philostachys nigra, the black bamboo that I tried to get rid of a few years ago, but still puts up a few small runners, and that's just what's left. Those never stay evergreen for me, so I don't really care. Those will just get cut back to the ground. And then the Panseres trifoliate, Japanese bitter orange, flying dragon. This is when it shines. What I mean is when there's snow on this tree, it's when I think it's actually its most beautiful. Not just really the snow, but it's once the fruit are ripe and they're nice and orange and yellow. It stands out. It'd be kind of nice if it did that during the summertime when I want that more tropical vibe. But it's a nice winter color. And these do semi-defoliate. They're semi-evergreen depending on where you live. Usually they lose just about all of their foliage, though. They're supposed to, but it doesn't always happen. I don't really know what that's about. Just my experience with mine is that they don't always lose their foliage. I've had people get kind of upset when you talk about these things. I don't know why. People, y'all can get very specific with your things. I'm just talking about what's going on with mine. And it would have more fruit on it this year, but we had some storms that blew a lot of stuff off of there, so that's it. But it's still really, really pretty, and they're actually much more ripe than they usually are by now. Usually they're still kind of going into January, and that's when they start to sort of color up for me, but not this year. They're in orange now, which is pretty unusual because, well, we had a really late spring, so I don't know what that's about, but I'm okay with it. It's really, really, really pretty. Oh, how could I forget this one? Another gorgeous banana tree. Stunning banana tree. Okay, I gotta go. My hands are getting numb. That's enough. Say goodbye to the queen palm. It's gonna die soon. So there it is. There's the tour. If you want to see the other tours, then I'll have that playlist linked at the end of the video. A little card you can click on and shows kind of the stages and how things have changed, and you can see how vastly different things look from beginning to end. This isn't really the beginning, but this is not far from what it looks like in the spring when I got started. Alright, but don't forget to like the video. It helps the channel a lot, helps the videos, and I really appreciate it, so thank you. And subscribe as well. Upload multiple times a week, and hit that notification bell. That way you know when new videos come out. I have all my social media linked down below, down in the description, down there in the roots of the video. Follow me and I'll follow you back. I'm on Instagram more than anything else, and I really do actually enjoy talking to everybody and seeing everybody's pictures, so hit me up on there. And comment down below. I love talking to everybody. Alright, time to go. Can't feel my fingers. But as always, everybody, and most importantly, keep on growing. Bye bye.